Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Daryl Moss. I'm here with my colleagues, Stacy Hendry and Lucy Diana, and together we are the Synergy 3. And our mission is to spread vibrant health through group wellness programs that focus on the mind, the body, and the spirit. So today we're talking about money-saving tips in the kitchen and also minimizing waste. So I am making cooked beet greens. So one of the things that unfortunately so many of us do when we go to the market is either we buy beets that have already been trimmed of their greens, or when we get home with, this is a beet with the greens attached, we just automatically throw the greens away. But the greens are edible and they're really, really healthy. And you can eat them raw and you can eat them cooked. You could put them in your smoothies raw, you could put them in a salad, you can even put the beets themselves in your smoothies. But because people don't usually cook the greens, I'm making some sauteed greens today with onions and garlic. So just to save a little bit of time, I'm using a very, very low fire. I'm using extra virgin olive oil here. And I have sauteed the greens with onions and garlic. So I don't know if you can really see, but they're soft. And we're ready to add the greens. So I already chopped up some greens from another bunch of beets. I'm going to put them in. And beet greens are sweeter than kale. They're prettier because they have the pink along with the green. The stems are edible as well. And they cook up really, really quickly, just like spinach does. The greens are, the leaves are very thin, they're not coarse. And they make a wonderfully beautiful salad or side dish. So you can use them, along with any other foods that you're having. You can serve them over pasta, especially gluten-free pasta. You could mix them in with cooked quinoa, however you like to have them. But one of the things to remember is that aside from the fact that they're edible, they're incredibly nutritious. So beet greens are high in vitamin K, vitamin C, vitamin A, and they're also high in some minerals. They're high in iron, they're high in calcium, they're high in potassium. And it is really important that we get all of these nutrients in our bodies every day. I also, as I said, hate to throw anything out, so I'd like to use the whole plant whenever I can. Because they're high in those vitamins and minerals, beets are really, really good for boosting immunity. They're good for lowering blood sugar, lowering your blood pressure. And the onions and garlic themselves have incredible medicinal qualities, and they're really part of so many traditional cooking regimens from all over the world. So I love cooking my beet greens. So if you eat dairy, you can certainly add a little bit of goat cheese to make it a creamier dish and add a little bit of tang. If you like things a little bit sweeter, you could add a few raisins or craisins to the dish. Also makes them delicious. Greens are also really good for digestive health, and beets themselves are incredibly nutritious, really good for your heart. So I encourage you to try using the whole plant. This is almost finished cooking. I'll show you what it looks like. If you can see that. I don't know if the color transfers well over Zoom, but the color is really, really pretty. So anyway, so I encourage you all to try this in your own kitchens and let us know how you like them. And I will turn this over, unless Stacy or Lucy wants to add anything about the beets. I'm happy to turn it over to you guys.
I'll just say that I wash the greens and I kind of shake them off, and then I put them in a baggie and stick them in my freezer, and I will throw them in my smoothie. If I'm not going to cook them fast enough, then that's what I'll do. I'll save them and use them in a smoothie. And they do make the smoothie very pink. So it seems like pink is a better color than green, but that's what I do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So when you buy beets, if you're not going to cook the greens within probably 24 hours, they dry out. So you really need to use them right away. So that's a great point, Stacy, to freeze them if you're not going to use them right away.
All right, and I will pass it to Lucy. You're muted, Lucy.
don't know how that happened. Okay. So I'm here with my slow cooker and apples. So did any of you ever have the experience of buying a big bag of apples, or your family saying to you, "Mine, 1 apples," and then they kind of sit on your counter, and then nobody wants to eat them because they start to turn a little bit brown. So let's not make the mistake of throwing those wonderful medicinal apples, high in fiber, very supportive for liver health, into the garbage. And as I was prepping, my apples are fresh. I didn't have apples that have been sitting on the counter right now. So anyway, in order to show you this demo, but I was thinking as I was peeling the apples that so many of us don't like the prep work. It's like we want it to be easy. And so that's what we're always thinking of, quick ways to get things done and all that. And that's fantastic. I mean, you know, I'm all for that. But if I have this passion for the blue zones of the world where people are known to live the longest. And examples of that are Okinawa, Japan, a town in Greece, Sardinia, Italy, Costa Rica, and Loma Linda, California, believe it or not. And these people have to prep in order to eat healthy. So we shouldn't really say to ourselves that we can't do it. We have to think how exciting it is that prepping could actually help us to eat healthy and give us a longer life. That's what we need to think of, the longevity behind prepping. So as I was happily peeling my apples and thinking that, put it into my crock pot. I'm just going to show you a minute. There they go. A mixture of apples and pears, making believe that I had purchased apples and pears and they were starting to go bad and the kids like them hard. They don't want to eat them where they're a little bit soft or marked. And then I added a tablespoon of ghee. Ghee is actually an incredibly healthy form of a fat, and it's made in such a way that the milk solids are pulled out of it so that even lactose intolerant people can have ghee without a problem. And it's got a very high smoke point, so you can cook with it and you don't have to worry about your fats turning into trans. Another key about butter, and hence ghee, so you get the benefit of butter, but without the milk solids, especially if you're lactose intolerant, is that it is high in butyrate, an incredibly important short chain fatty acid that we need in order for our little organisms in our gut to make very important vitamins for us, amongst other things. So for colon health, and actually for preventing colon cancer, we need to have butyrate. And a lot of us are deficient in butyrate. And maybe because we've been avoiding eating butter and things like that. But anyway, we can get more into the microbiome, as Daryl has already introduced us in past Wellness Wednesdays. But ghee is a great addition to a healthy diet. And then I put half of a lemon juice. And why make the rind go to waste? You can even put the zest in if you want. I didn't have cinnamon sticks. Usually I put in 2 cinnamon sticks. So I sprinkled some cinnamon. And then a little pinch of good salt. This is what I have in the house right now. And it's going to cook in here for 4 hours on high. I'm going to put this over to the side. And if it's too much and we can't eat it all, I'm not going to make it go to waste. So I'm going to use my, and I've shown you this before, I'm going to use my handy dandy freezable mason jars, just so you see the difference. Where's my, oh, here. This is a non-freezable mason jar. Do you see it? The curves here? If you put this into the freezer, it will crack, all right, because of the shape. But a freezable mason jar is going to have straight edges, so you can freeze anything in here. I freeze my applesauce because my family loves applesauce. If I'm going to make a batch and I don't want it sitting in the refrigerator for too many days because I don't want my food to collect bacteria, then I'm going to freeze it. So I have it ready and handy. And right, that's such an important factor in eating healthy, is we need to have things that we want to eat on hand. So we're going to have to do some prepping in order to have it on hand later. And yesterday I made our delicious mineral broth, and I have the recipe for you in the chat, the link to the mineral broth. And I made a lot of it actually, because we're all drinking it. I don't think it's going to be going into the freezer, but let's say I made double the batch, then, and it's so tasty. Why do I love mineral broth? Because exactly what the name says. I'm getting minerals into my diet. And we as Americans tend to be very mineral deficient. We need small amounts of it, but our soils are no longer, they're mineral depleted. So our food does not have the mineral content it used to have. So something like this, which is so yummy, is a great broth to have in your freezer. You can drink it as is, as a tea, which is what I do, or you can also use it as a base for any of your soups or in cooking. And it's on all of our programs. We highly recommend it. And we're actually doing a little boost in our Slim Possible weight loss program right now. And we'll be drinking this twice a day. So that's why I said I don't think it's going into the freezer, but if I made a little too much, here we go. I'm gonna put it in my freezer in my different sizes. This is about how much I would drink in a tea. And I'll have it handy. So that is my money saving tip, is prep it, cook it, and put it in the freezer so you have it on hand. Stacy?
Great job, Lucy. I did want to say that if you peel the apples for the applesauce, you can keep the peels and also freeze them and use them in your smoothies, because there's a lot of nutrient in the peels, so you don't want to waste that. Today, I'm going to talk about how to keep your herbs fresh. How many times have you bought cilantro or parsley and then you go to use it in the refrigerator and it's a big mushy blob that ends up going in the garbage? Well, this is an incredible tip. So I have a bunch of parsley here. And what I'm going to do at first is sort of spread it out on my cutting board. And I'm going to go through and pick out any leaves that are either soggy, and here's a kind of wilted, soggy one, and anything that's like low, you want to have some stems because it's going to go in some water. So I'll just sort of pick through it of anything that doesn't look appealing, or if they're short like this and they're going to be submerged in water, then I'll take them out. So once I do that, I bunch it up, and I'm going to take my kitchen shears and just trim the ends to take the dead pieces off. And then I use the same jar that Lucy's using, filled with water, and I'm just going to put it in like a bouquet. So you can see how the stems are down below. So anything that's going to submerge into it, into the water, should just be stems. So any little pieces of parsley that you see, I would take out. And that is it. You can actually leave this on your counter if you want, or if you want to put it in your refrigerator. I use the bag and just cover it loosely. Just keeps it fresh in the refrigerator. And then you put it someplace in your fridge where it won't get knocked over. But this, I've already had this for like 3 days. And the last one I bought, I had in my refrigerator for 2 weeks. It actually started growing because you're fueling it with water. So it continues to grow and get actually bigger. So this, I do this with parsley and cilantro, and it's just awesome. It lasts so much longer and stays so much fresher. But if I don't have anything planned to cook with the parsley, then I will just take it, wash it, give it a shake, and throw it in a bag in my freezer and use it for smoothies. And also you could use it for soups. If you need parsley, you could take it out of the freezer and throw it into soups. Once it's frozen, it's not so good for cold salads because it just gets a little soggy from the freezing process. But I have used it in soups and entrees when you need parsley and you're going to cook it. So this is a great tip. I've saved so much more parsley and cilantro. I haven't tried it yet with basil, which I would like to, because that's so hard to keep fresh in my refrigerator. So that'll be next. But that's my tip. Anyone, Lucy or Darryl, you have any comments about that? Or we could open it for questions.
I just wanted to say that my parsley goes soggy, so I'm happy to try that. But the other morning I woke up and I have fresh parsley, and I've been in love with my wild blueberry smoothie. And I said, I need a change. And I looked at the parsley. I said, you know, I have liked parsley in my smoothie. Took a piece of lemon and the parsley, and I'm in love. It is so good. And we can't forget parsley, cilantro for liver detoxification and supporting the health of the liver is so important. And we need a happy liver. If we want to be healthy, if we want to lose weight, if we want to have strong immunity, we need a happy liver. So we need to include liver-loving foods into our diet, and cilantro and parsley, and I think beets too. Yes, right, Darryl? And our beet greens and our beets are hands down, and even apples. So, you know, without even thinking, we didn't plan this, everyone, but we showed you liver-loving foods today. And it's springtime, so spring detox.
Yeah, parsley is a big detoxifier. So it's good to, it's also very good for your breath. Like they put a little sprig of parsley on your dinner plate in a restaurant, and it's actually, I think they want it to look nice, but if you kind of chew it a little bit after eating, it helps with digestion and improves your breath. So good to know.
Also, cilantro is one of those love it or hate it herbs. But if you do eat cilantro, the reason it's detoxifying is it helps glom onto toxins in your body and help your body excrete them. So if you liked cilantro, it's a great addition to your diet. And I add both cilantro and parsley to my smoothies if I have them in the house.
Yum. I love cilantro.
Anyone have any questions? Just feel free to unmute yourself. And I see Mona posted about having a plant. You can keep a basil plant on your counter for fresh basil whenever you need. I just wonder what's the best way to keep the already clipped basil that you buy in the grocery store fresh. That's the one I struggle with.
Can you see my growing basil in my house?
Yes.
And we cut it, we trimmed it. It's been growing like crazy.
Wow, did you grow that through the winter?
I did.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I mean, I grow it on my deck, obviously in the summer, and I bring it in for a little bit, but that's a really, I didn't even think of that. That looks really good. Thank you.
I was lucky.
Basil doesn't like a ton of sun. So you know, if you have it outside, you need to keep it in a partial sun area.
My other question was the beet greens, is that charred? Like,
No,
it isn't.
no, they look like Swiss chard, but Swiss chard actually comes in different colors. It can be
Right.
green, red,
Yes.
and green. It's a similar plant, but not exactly the same.
Okay, thank you.
So, you know, beet greens are attached to the beet root. Swiss chard doesn't have the roots, you know, doesn't have another
Yeah.
fruit underneath the ground.
I always thought they, you know, they would use the leaves and sell them as Swiss chard. I mean,
Oh,
Oh,
that's funny. So Swiss chard is either green or rainbow. So the rainbow chard looks a lot like the beets, but it's also very mild. So you can eat it raw, and it's a good one to put in your smoothies.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I buy a couple bunches in the grocery store, organic Swiss chard, and then I just wash it and put it in the freezer.
so
One
it's
bag, if I get some parsley, I add it. Whatever I have, I just keep adding it and then crunch it up and throw it in my smoothie.
so the stems are never all green. Swiss chard is always different colored, or does it come in a green stem? See, that was my confusion. I don't know why I thought that.
There's two kinds of chard. Sorry, Darryl. There's two kinds. There's the green kind, and then there's the rainbow kind. And they both have a stem, and it grows into a big leaf. But you can buy either one and they're both good. And the
Right.
rainbow just looks pretty.
Right, so these leaves are much smaller than Swiss chard. So there's a much longer stem on the beets, and then the leaves are at the top. Swiss chard, it starts much lower. The leafing part starts much lower down on the stem. Any other questions?
No? Okay, so just what we have coming up next, we're here every Wednesday at noon. Next week will be a cooking demonstration by me. We're also running our Slim Possible weight loss program, and we're doing a second round starting May 3rd, which is this Monday coming up. It's a different type of weight loss program. We're just teaching people how to eat delicious food, how to use time-saving tips like we've talked about today so that takes less time to cook and you have more time for fun in your life. And you're eating delicious food that supports your body and that helps the weight to come off. And we give a lot of accountability and support. It's a 9-week program. It starts the 3rd. If you know anybody who's tired of yo-yo dieting and wants this to be the last weight loss program they'll ever do, tell them about it, and we'd love to support them. And anything else?
Stacy? Now, I just want to mention, we have one client doing it right now who came on the program for weight loss, and I think it's important to mention this. And she was so excited this week. She wrote us a beautiful post. She happens to be a diabetic, and she has to undergo a very serious surgery. And she's just besides herself ecstatic because her internist told her that because she's been on this diet now, she's probably going to come off of her diabetes medication. She doesn't need it anymore. So I think that's important for everybody to know. Really what we do is weight loss is a benefit of what we teach. And so it's not just the weight that's coming off. If there are underlying issues and you're reducing inflammation, you would be surprised how food becomes your medicine and lifestyle becomes your medicine. And then the medicine is slowly decreased by the doctor. In this case, it's not slow. She sounds like she's coming off. She's, obviously has a good body. It's healing quickly, and she'll be coming off the medication. So I wanted to share that testimonial.
Can you tell us a little bit about the program? Like, are you tracking your food every day? Is that how it works?
Yes.
Yes, that's a piece of it that we ask you to do a food log. In most days, it's for your benefit. And then we take a look at the log and offer ideas of here, you could try swapping a little bit of this for a little bit of that, or it looks like you need more protein or more vegetables and things like that. But that's just a piece. The food is just a piece. There's like 6 aspects that we focus on for better health, and we focus on all of them throughout the program, helping you to move more, hydrate more, sleep well, de-stress. And there's a lot of support from us and also from the Facebook group of participants.
So you have to be on Facebook in order to do the program?
You do, because it's the best place to have a group program like this for collaboration. A few people have not wanted to be on Facebook, so we've suggested that they just make up a name for themselves and don't friend anybody and delete it after the program is over, and nobody will know you're out there.
But even if you use your regular Facebook identity to sign up to be part of our program, nobody who knows you on Facebook will know that you're doing this program because it's a private group. So the only people who have access to the group are people in the group. It wouldn't show up anywhere on your feed, and no one else would see the posts or anything like that.
It's just a great place for collaboration in a group like that. But I know people have, myself included, struggles with Facebook. So sometimes if you don't have an account already, I mean, people have made one for their dog and been on our program and then deleted it at the end.
It's more than collaboration, though. We're posting information. It's a vehicle for education. We have 1 call per week. It's a check-in call. but the Facebook is where we're actually educating you. And that's what our weight loss program is about. It's about teaching you what you need to know to have sustainable weight loss and good health.
And it's not only about the food. So we focus about all the lifestyle aspects that go into being healthy, that are part of not only a weight loss program, but overall health, so that you know how to listen to your body going forward.
And I just want to say quick, like we do every program with everyone. So I've been on this coconut yogurt kick, and I found this amazing, delicious coconut yogurt. I've been eating it every day, and I've had 5 pounds to lose, and I have 2 more to go. But I've been looking at the coconut yogurt, and my daughter brought the awareness to me. She says, Mom, she says, this coconut yogurt has 15 grams of fat per 4-ounce serving. Now, healthy fat, which coconut is a healthy fat, that's okay. But if you can handle saturated fat, some of us, genetically speaking, don't do as well with saturated fat. Now, I'm guessing, do I have that genetic little glitch? Because, and that's why I'm not losing these last couple of pounds. So I'm going to not eat coconut yogurt for 2 weeks and see what happens. So that's the beauty of our program is, we're looking at all the ins and outs that could be going on. Because we know that there's so many diets out there, like the keto diet and so on and so forth, that actually promotes that, but some people may not do well with that because they can't handle too much saturated fat. So just wanted to put that in. And I'm crying because I love that yogurt, but it's okay.
For you, Lucy.
Anything else we can answer today?
Do the programs offer like a menu to follow, or how would you?
There's about 80 recipes included: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, all of them focused on less calorie dense, but high in nutritional value ingredients, and also time saving. So for example, we might give a crockpot dish that you could just throw everything in the crockpot in the morning and it's ready at dinner, or maybe a 1-pan dish where you throw a few things on a baking pan, pour a little sauce over it, and bake it for 45 minutes. So we're looking for ease, high in nutrients, high in flavor. So it's not a menu per se where we say eat this, because everybody's different, but it's like 80 recipes to choose from.
Okay, so you would. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Terry.
Oh, so on a daily basis, would I be choosing, the foods from the breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack, anything that I wanted from the 80, recipes, regardless, right?
Correct, or something that you already like to eat. Like people have said, this is what I'm eating for breakfast. Is this a good choice? It doesn't have to be everything new. I'm sure you're eating some healthy foods, or we could kind of tweak what you are eating to be more healthy. But it's, we just give you a lot of recipe choices to add to your repertoire.
It's we choose,
Yes.
And it doesn't matter one day, because there are other programs, we don't have to go into that just have you eat, for example, 2 days of, let's say, high glycemic fruit, and then like 2 days of for example, no other vegetable except protein and greens, and then like maybe 3 days where you adding the good fat, that kind of stuff. But it's pretty strict.
We're not doing that because this is a lifestyle. We want to look at something that you're going to enjoy doing and you're going to do long term after these 8 weeks are over with us supporting you, that you know how to eat. So it's not a grapefruit diet. It's not a keto diet. It's really, let's see what you like. Let's see how we can make some swaps here and there to add in more healthy foods and find solutions for long term. And that includes having a treat, having a glass of wine or whatever you like. It includes, you're going to be at a party, you may want to splurge a little bit. It includes that because you have to figure out how to monitor yourself for life so that you can, once the weight is off, you can keep it off.
My biggest problem is, at night cravings with sweets and carbs. I mean, I could be really good, I guess, depending on the foods I'm eating. But if I'm not eating right, I am out of control.
Yeah, that's most of us are. So we focus a lot on that, Teresa. You would get a lot of support around that. It's big for everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the questions. Anyone else?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Rose. Thank you for coming. If you enjoyed this, if you got any value out of it, please let your friends know. We would love to help as many people as we can get on a healthy path and avoid meds.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, lady.
Welcome.
Wonderful as always.